Well, I mean, we were talking about TVs. Why don't you talk about phones now and cell towers and Cisco?
Yeah, clarify. Cisco is not just about phones. So yes. But
sorry, the only Cisco product I see is the work phone on my work desk that I have not used in 2 years or 7 months since I've not been back to the office.
Yes. I mean, let's be honest, right? Cisco is a last decade company. Right, let's be fair, right? So it's a company from the last decade where they were laying out a lot of cables. They were the biggest in the signal centers, signal cell towers. They were doing a lot of the hard infrastructure kind of business. And that was where they were thriving, and they were doing great because that was the time, of like 3G, 4G, the whole growth of the internet. So with more infrastructure comes more business for them. So they were doing great, and they were dominant in that space because 3G and 4G was pretty much dominated by the US companies, right? They set the standards, they lay the grounds, they do everything, right? So it's great for Cisco. But eventually, Huawei came along. So Huawei is a significant competitor, okay? Let's be honest.
Okay.
I can always be politically, neutral and say, oh yeah, there were other competitors. Let's be clear, okay? In the space, one, right? Huawei was biting their lunch. Yes. Huawei was a big guy. So Huawei came along and made it cheaper, better, faster. Right, okay, maybe faster is a big question mark, but cheaper and better in that sense, right? Cheaper definitely. So there were a lot more Asia markets that were picking up Huawei, and even the US, even in the European markets, a lot of them they couldn't resist, because I used to work in a cloud computing company, and you walk into the space and it's like, wow, everybody Huawei, huh? So it's because it's so cheap and so much better. So, for the price you pay. Let's be real,
price, right?
Let's be
real.
But
that's Chinese for you, right? They are good at producing at scale and quickly, and poof, and then after a while they just dominate the market. If the politicians let them.
That one, very loaded. That can be a whole series on its own. Will politicians allow you? But
yes,
okay.
I mean, even the Chinese politicians might not let themselves, right? So they're everywhere.
Yeah. But the reality is Huawei was biting their lunch, right? So essentially margins were coming down, and competition was so fierce that it's not even about margins anymore. They were losing market share in hardware. So about maybe I think 5-6 years ago, I cannot remember, don't mark my words, but quite some time ago, Cisco's management decided, we will take a pivot into software. Right, so it sounds easy, right? It sounds like what everybody say. We just go software lah, we just do software, right? So or go cloud lah, go open source lah, whatever. Right? So there's always the keyword, but it's honestly very hard to shift, something like that, like a cruise line, right? Just look at the Suez Canal, right? So it's very hard to shift a company this big, But I would say, like in the recent report that just came out for Cisco, their total revenue for services and software is more than 50% today.
Wait, so when you say services and software, is it things that they add on to their hardware, or is it just a separate line that I sell other services and it's just a new BU that they have spun off?
Okay, so I would say they run it like a new BU, but it is not detached from the hardware in itself, right? So it's not like AWS has this thing, and then if let's offer to a whole bunch of people that we didn't serve prior, and this is like a whole new business altogether, right? No, but it's built on the hardware infrastructure, which is also very clearly stated within the management comments and management report, right? They were saying, our growth is a bit slower because hardware is still very tied to our software. I'm like, okay, fair.
Well,
I mean, yeah, exactly, right? I was like, okay, yeah, I kind of get it because
if you
think about it,
they're not a software business, right? They are still kind of predominantly a hardware business with value add that that the value add has fantastic margins, and they are creating more and more value add.
Yes. So it's a little bit like a Snowflake integrated kind of thing, right? Because if you think about it, Snowflake is really just managing a lot of the hardware, managing a lot of the data that's coming in from companies and all that, right? So for for Cisco, they're trying to essentially internalize the whole process, managing the hardwares, also managing the data flow, managing the security. So all that jazz, I think that's kind of where Snowflake is really coming. Where Cisco is coming in from. But they are not like a pure software play. Yes, that's true. That's the reality. But you can see some sort of shift into that space with management saying that, oh yeah, we're going to focus on the whole hybrid work situation going into the future. Yeah, so I thought that was cool.
Cool. So wait, how does that hybrid work thing work, for lack of a better word?
Okay, so I think let's be clear. Let's be very clear that not all companies use SaaS.
Okay.
So I think that we have to be very clear. Not all companies use SaaS, software as a service. So like maybe your Slack, Zendesk, I don't know. What else do people use? Like Office.com or whatever, right? So a lot of younger companies and smaller companies, they use a lot of SaaS. But when companies get to a certain level where they are deemed as an enterprise, they use enterprise level software.
but that's still like Teams, hopefully Zoom, that sort of thing, right? At least in the communication space.
Yes. So I would say Teams and Zooms, they are, competitors in some form to Cisco's software business. But I would say going forward, I think what they're really looking at is to monetize that complexity of data transmission and communication from an enterprise level to you being out of your office. Because I think that's the very complicated part, right? Where I'm sure a lot of people work in big MNCs and big enterprise. There's you log in your particular Mac or your particular computer, at a particular hotspot. Only then it works, the whole thing. You ship it out, then it's like, what's going on, right? So I think that's the part that Cisco is trying to crack. Focus on cracking, right? Not so much the whole video conferencing, Zoom call or Teams. That is only a very small part of communication, which is probably what you can call the last mile communication, right? Where it's the call, but before that, the whole data management, how do we share around with all the resources, all the data, so that you can work anywhere you want while keeping the integrity and the security of the enterprise level. I think that's the big nut to crack for them.
Oh, cool. That's interesting. I mean, look, honestly, it just sounds like Microsoft selling Azure, right? And shifting people to the cloud and your endpoint security and all of that. So that intuitively to me seems, and because that's the company I've looked at, that intuitively to me seems like the competition. But yeah, maybe there's just devil in the details and we're missing something. All right. So my turn to ask you the question. What's your play here, right?
So I've been holding Cisco for a while. I would say that at this point in time, they are not showing a clear runaway in the sense of like, okay, we got this, we found a supermarket fit and we're going to scale this BU like crazy. They're not there yet, So I am predicting that they will do what most big companies do. They will do M&As, right? So with free cash flow of $14 billion, every year, that they do have a lot of money to buy up a whole software ecosystem if they want to, right? So I believe that's kind of where they will play along, in this next few years. And it'll be great, I guess, for a situation now where a lot of big SaaS companies, they are all at all beaten down.
Well, I mean, it's still extremely high, right? It's not a discounted valuation at all.
Yes. I know I don't have insights to the FOMC, but I'm predicting an increase in interest rates. Or at least a stipulated increase in interest rates, and you will probably see the growth stocks come down further. Yeah, we shall see. We shall see.
This sounds interesting, right? This sounds like a mix between, your traditional type of stable dividend, hardware business, plus a growing software business on top, which, it's growing, it's high margins, it's optionality, I would say. I mean, we don't know, it's not doing super well, but it's optionality, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think it's optionality. It's an interesting company to keep a lookout for. I mean, they're not a small fry in the space, right? But at least if you want to talk about all the transitions that I've seen in my lifetime, with IBM, with Intel, with Microsoft shifting out of, enterprise software. A lot of these companies that have shifted out, they all took some time, right? 5-6 years. And they will fire some management, close some BUs, structure, and then kind of put it together. So I would say Cisco is kind of at the crux somewhere around there. And you see their share price performing very well this year. I think up by 30%. Right. So for a company like that, it's considered very good, guys. Please, not everybody is a growth stock.
Yeah, not everything doubles like within 2 months.
Yeah. Or like 5 months we double, or like one report another 20% up. Come on, wake up. Okay, but I would say
now it's one
Cisco,
report 30% down. So I much prefer the 20% up days.
Yes, fair. I hear you. But I think going forward, that's where you will see them potentially breaking out, after they consolidate. So I want to see, as someone that is investor, I want to see management continue to double down on this product offering, because like you said, there are a lot of other people that are also kind of in this space, and they, as traditional hardware people, they have to continue to acquire talent, and talent in this space is very, very expensive. I'm sure we all know, right? So to have good talent to compete on the software level, to then potentially spin out as a BU, very separated from the traditional comms hardware department, I think that's still, maybe 2 or 3 years down. We could see some acquisition and some packaging, and maybe something will happen. We don't know, but at least at the core, great dividend company, making good money, free cash flow 14 billion. Right? So there are a lot of things that can happen out of it.